What's going on, everyone? I'm your host, Vince Vargas, and this is Time to Head North podcast. And something I want to kind of do differently a little bit today is kind of review some videos that we've seen going viral on the internet and kind of give an assessment and maybe some kind of thoughts behind it that might be able to save your life in the event that you find yourself in a similar situation. The first time I'm doing this, so bear with me, but we're going to watch some of these videos. I'll critique them as we go. You guys will get to see them below as well, and we'll just go from there. What's going on, y'all? My name is Vincent Vargas. I'm the host of the Time to Head North podcast, brought to you by the North Group. Security refined by intelligence. This world is a scary place, right? Right now, I'd rather you think more on the ends of being prepared for the worst and hope for the best. And that means at times you might have to carry concealed or carry armed. And if you do, then be trained. Not every scenario will involve a pistol or some kind of protection, but let's just look at some of these videos and we'll talk about it. Here's the first one. The first one went viral a few months back and it's a road rage incident. And an individual gets out of his vehicle, he brandishes his firearm, and he walks up to the vehicle. And he walks up in the vehicle with a little bit of aggression, and so we'll see what happens here. So you might have seen this already. That one didn't end up so nice. So the individual walks up to the vehicle with his energy was already showing pre-fight indicators, is what we like to call them. He was kind of posturing. He had his brandished firearm. He goes up to the vehicle. He punches the vehicle with the firearm hand, which was interesting. What you don't see, or what the driver doesn't see of the vehicle, is that he switches hands. And as he comes up to continue to engage verbally, the driver of the vehicle at that time had enough time to pull out his pistol and engage the threat. Do I assume this would be a justified shoot? Well, I assume this is going to be justified in the fact that this individual was brandishing a firearm, and then two, you don't know what he intends to do with that. His pre-fight indicators, his posturing has you feel that he's probably in a state of losing control. He has a firearm that can actually take the life of you or your passengers. And so at that time, I do believe this is an appropriate action to protect yourself, because we don't know what's going to happen next. Extremely unfortunate that someone had to lose their life in this event. But if I was the driver, an alternative would have been to try to get away driving-wise, maybe find a free lane, an open lane, and take off. It's always unfortunate to see these events. I would say that people need to practice more emotional intelligence, not allow a altercation while driving lead to someone's death. Let's find another one. Oh, that's crazy. Jeez almighty. Let me grab that one, and for my editors, I gotta save it. There's one. Okay. Next, let's go another road rage incident. I'm on X. I'm on the top road rage, videos. This one looks like it might be another shooting. Gentlemen are just yelling at each other from the vehicle. His friend's trying to get him to get back in. The passenger of the vehicle behind him, the truck, is making gestures. Typical dude kind of banter, looks like. Truck goes around. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Got a little aggressive. So what happened is the two vehicles were having a verbal altercation. Obviously, who knows what it was. One individual stepped out of the car, kind of showing a bigger kind of posture, potentially a threat of wanting to fight. The vehicle in the back did not get out of the vehicle. They kind of gestured out the window. And then at one point, the truck decided to just go around the vehicle in front. And when it did that kind of an aggressive posture, kind of an aggressive kind of manner. It did get a little close to the other vehicle as if it was going to hit him almost. I don't think that was the intention. It looked like the intention was just to get around it and get away. But looks like the vehicle in the maroon, the front vehicle decided to go ahead and pull a firearm and at that time felt the need to pull the trigger. Personally, I think the vehicle in red is going to be in trouble for this decision because they chose to, you know, fire their firearm in broad daylight in an event that was not life threatening since they were in their vehicle. I don't know if it's going to work out for them in the end, the way this works. Again, if you guys are in any kind of verbal altercation in road rage, first of all, you've already let it get too far. At no point should you allow yourself to emotionally be that invested in an argument on the road. It can lead to a situation where someone is engaging on you, right? Because that's the way the world goes right now. What I would do personally is I would disengage, and I would find a way to just exit left, exit stage right, whatever it is, whatever you can go, just get away from it, create distance and just get over it. If these individuals choose to follow you, continue kind of to engage with you, then I'd pull into something like a police department, somewhere where it's safe and you can hopefully get them to calm down and just get away. These happen so often these days, it's just kind of crazy, but that's something that I would be very mindful of. Don't allow yourself to get further into this scenario because it can turn deadly. So what you see a lot of is gang fights. Here, let me just pull, not even a gang fight, just fights. Fights are very dangerous for kids these days. And let me get to just a regular, looks like just two kids fighting. Oh, wow. We'll watch this one. But all right. It looks like there's some kind of, it starts off with just a fight already. And looks like there's two women jumping one woman and then a bystander who looks like he's support of the individual who's currently being overtaken. He pulls out a rock. He pulls out a sock, which looks like it was filled with rocks, and he hits one of them over the head. Oh, a lot to break down here. First, we, again, emotional intelligence, find ourselves in a position that we don't have to engage. We don't have to fight. There's never a reason genuinely to get to that level. Don't know the precursors to this situation, but you do find yourself, she's overwhelmed with two individuals on top of her. A lot we can go to just kind of breaking down that fight. If it was my kids, I'd always tell my kids to walk away from every fight because you don't know when it would lead to something like this. In recent history, there was a story, I think it was in Vegas, where one kid was jumped by 6 individuals and lost his life. Whatever it was, a bully incident, whatever it might be. But the dangers of getting into a street fight these days, a lot of children are losing their lives because of head injuries. They're getting stomped. They're getting completely just completely, there's no holds barred in that situation. In this event, this gentleman who is probably going to get in trouble a lot for, I would say, assault with a deadly weapon, and he hit her directly on the head. The male to female connection just drives me crazy to see any man engage on a woman in this capacity. This is just dangerous. I think what he could have done is if he really felt that threat to the person who he was trying to protect or he was there for, he should have maybe just picked up and moved the lady, created distance, your own friend, pick her up and get out of there, to actually engage on one of these women, especially when they weren't looking. A lot of things is just a terrible situation, and I hope that no one has to find themselves in this. But if you had children, I teach my children, I wouldn't say use of force because that's more of a law enforcement term, but my kids all are very well versed in wrestling. And some who've done a lot of wrestling will also get some lessons in boxing and jiu-jitsu. And so in that event that my kids can find a way to get themselves out of very sticky, hairy situations. And so if you guys were raising kids and trying to think of what's a good martial art to get your kids into so they can defend themselves, I personally believe that wrestling, as I wear the hat, wrestling is a great alternative, because it has the same intensity of a real street fight, but in a controlled environment. You can do jiu-jitsu. It is a very good skill for kids, but personally, I believe it is a little passive in the event that it won't really show kids the same intensity of what a street fight can be until they get more mature and older and really understand that it can, right? I think for me personally, I just really enjoyed watching the benefits of wrestling and what it's done for my kids in their confidence, physical fitness, and as well as the ability to control a fight. And so I always recommend putting your kids in some kind of martial art, wrestling, jujitsu, whatever it is that you like, even boxing. But if this was my daughter, I assume that she probably wouldn't have allowed herself to be on her back and taken a better defensive position. And that gentleman, again, there's no explanation, no excuse for what he did. It's a terrible scenario, no matter how you spin this. So let me save this video. Goodness. All right, here we go. Let's watch this one. Let me mute this. Looks like they're at a dinner place that has music, kind of like it's like a bar. One individual with a tie is obviously pretty drunk. He bumps into a gentleman who looks like in great shape, says something to him, and I don't mean to laugh, but wow. Okay, so here in this situation, you guys get to watch the video. In this situation, we've probably seen this video before, but the individual, obviously he's a little intoxicated. He's having fun. He's kind of standing in a path of travel that's just, open for anyone. He's being a little, you could tell he's got a few beers in him or drinks in him. Another individual looks like he's walking back from the bathroom of some sort. Really good shape. You can see I think he has a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu shirt on. So it looks like the individual trains. And first and foremost, if you guys are ever going to get yourselves into some kind of altercation, you got to be smart enough to be able to identify things like cauliflower ear or a shirt that says Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and know that the individual probably trains and know that it might not be something you want to kind of continue to pursue. Either way, the individual in the tie who's feeling a little frosty, backs up accidentally into the jiu-jitsu practitioner fighter, we will call him, the MMA fighter. And as the bump goes, the MMA fighter kind of pushes him out the side gently, but definitely with a little bit of aggression. And the guy in the tie says something to him. And you can see now the server's a little bit in the way, but you can see the MMA guy gets a little upset, turns around with definitely some aggression right at the drunk man. And they are in a face-to-face moment. A quick right-left combo knocks him out cold. Yikes. And then the MMA guy walks away. Woo! Hey, listen. If you're going to go toe-to-toe with someone, get your hands up, because the first things first, what my dad always said is if someone walks up to you, punch him in the fucking face. Excuse my language, but you got to be prepared to fight. If someone already crosses that threshold and this space of safety, this one hand, that's enough for me to say he's ready to engage, hit first. So I think you could really articulate that to any kind of law enforcement, especially that it's filmed, like, hey, look, I bumped him accidentally. I said this, and the gentleman walked up to me, and so I defended myself. Again, they say you're not supposed to throw the first punch, but if it was me in this scenario and someone walked up to me with that kind of posture, I feel like it's the smartest thing to at least get my hands up. And two, if I think he's going to throw, I want to throw first. Unfortunate for this dude. He took a sleep. Good night. Okay, I don't know what country this is, but it looks like the bus that she is on is being robbed, and immediately what she does is pull her phone out. Looks like she has two phones. One of them obviously is a more legit phone, hers, something of importance, because she put it under her thigh, and then she handed them a phone that she had in her purse. So two different phones. No reason why someone would have two different phones. But now she's also chanting along, telling everyone kind of like, go with it, And then at the end of the video, she pulls out her personal phone and puts it back in her purse. Very slick and smooth. That's fast thinking. I really enjoy watching that fast thinking under duress. She was able to think on her toes, pull out her actual phone, what looks like, and then give a decoy phone, or a phone that obviously is less important. In the event of any kind of crisis or a situation like this, you always have to be able to think on your toes. You always have to be able to to manage thought and see what is going to be the best action I could take at this time. Obviously these people were going to rob no matter what, and so she was able to create some kind of decoy and made them feel happy enough that they could walk away. Very scary. In a scenario like this, if you have a purse that way and you carry concealed, this is probably one of those moments you have to make a decision when it's smart to actually pull your conceal carry and engage. If there's more than one individual, you have to make a decision if it's safe. Also think about when engaging on any kind of threat, what is potentially behind that threat. So if you miss your shot, or if your shots go through the individual, can you potentially hurt innocent bystanders? All very interesting things. Listen, we live in a time, a life that we have to have a thought process in every action we take. If in the event I take my wife out and someone tries to speak to her with disrespect, I have to make a decision whether I want to involve her into this scenario. If it's one individual one-on-one, yeah, that could always be a benefit to me, someone who's trained his whole life. But at the same time, if for some reason someone does get a punch off that knocks me out cold, now it leaves my wife alone with this adversary. And so that's not a scenario I want to put my wife in. So personally, even though I feel very confident in my hand-to-hand skills, I feel very confident if I have to engage, I do my best to disengage every scenario possible so that I can go home at night and cuddle with my wife. And it's something that I think all of you should think about. There is no ego in staying alive and living to fight another day, is what we say in the military. But in all honesty, the way the world is today, the first priority in my life is my wife and kids, getting them to safety first. And then at that time, if I feel that I need to engage, if it's necessary, then at that point I will. But the priority for me is to be able to take my family and my wife and my kids safely to their home. And at that point, the rest is history. I just think that we have to be smarter in some of the actions that we take and really think about what is the most important thing in your life. And for me, it is my wife and kids. And so I'd rather live to fight another day. So thank you guys for joining us on this episode of Time to Head North. And, I hope you enjoyed it. I want to do more of these little kind of risk assessment videos so we can really highlight. And if you guys have any videos that you want me to talk about, please send them to the inbox and we'd appreciate it. Take care.